All right. Hello, hello. This is going to be my next episode. So this is covering NTI days 3 and 4, and this is going to be chapter 3, lesson 2. So you're going to go into evolutionary history, and then you will go to chapter 3, and then 3.2. So we are in determining species relatedness. First thing you're going to see, tab 1, warm up. In this warm up, you're going to see you have an evolutionary tree right here that they want you to figure out where species C should fit. So you have blank 1 and blank 2. So you're going to kind of try to decide based on the ancestor population, based on the other species, looking at body structure, common structures that they share, things like that, to help you decide which species C should belong in. And then down here, it wants you to pick the body structure that helped you make your decision, and then go into a little bit more explanation on it down here. Click hand in, and you're done with the warm-up. Next thing, here's where it gets a little tricky. So obviously you see I just clicked into the teacher tab, so you do not have this tab. This would be a time where I would show a video up on the board, and we would have a little discussion about it, and obviously you do not have that. This video is going to be also on our Google Classroom. It'll be a link on there for you to watch. And while you're watching it, there's one question I want you to think about, and that is this one right here. So, when you compare different species, how can you tell which species are more closely related than others? So that's our investigation question you should be thinking of while you watch this quick little clip. So make sure you click on that in the Google Classroom when you finish the warm-up. And then you'll move on to the sim. And scrolling down to the instructions, you're going to see you have another evolutionary tree right here. And we're looking at two things, the blue whale and the orca. And you're also going to see in this image here, we have 5 open slots. What's going to happen is you're going to open up the sim. So you can see here, there's that link for you to click. So we're going into cetaceans mode. And that's already in there for you with the instructions. So once you get in, once again, cetaceans mode, so go ahead and click on that. And then we are going to tree mode, so you're going to want to click up on that right corner, the tree. You also are going to want to go all the way down here in your bottom left corner. And we're going to go all the way to cetaceans. And you're going to notice down here, we have our blue whale and our orca. You might remember, hopefully you do, we have all these tabs up here, the exhibit with some information, the appearance, which is what it looks like, or what they thought it looked like if it's an ancient fossil, and then we have our structures here so we can compare. Remember, you can only have 2 up at a time. So today you're not necessarily comparing these two, you're comparing that with some ancient fossils, which you'll see down here. So when you scroll down here, it's asking you to put ancient fossils into the locations which are up here. So location 1, 2, 3, 4. For some reason, it doesn't want you to do a 5, but you're looking at what you think would go in these. And so you can see down here, you have a whole menu, and then obviously down here is a little short answer about what you did. A quick thing. Diagnostic, you might see this word a lot all over the place. Diagnostic just kind of means similar, related, kind of the same things we've been doing, just what structures do you see that are close, look the same, do they both have a pelvis, do they both have a skull, things like that. So when you are in here, so example, let's look at our 2 first ones here. When we are in here, you can see that you have the ability to drag and drop in the simulation. So this was our first one, the Doryudon, and you can click on it and study a few things, and you can compare. And then we have our Kuchikitis, which is another fossil, and you can even pull this up with your whale, or you can pull it up with the orca and kind of compare and look at some things that they have in common or different, and you're going to figure out how to place that. And like I said, in the simulation, you're able to do it actually on there, dragging, dropping, kind of figuring it out, moving things, and then make sure you answer these questions. Click hand in. Next thing gets a little bit tricky. So the third tab would be a time where we would do another discussion. So you are looking at this question right here. When you compare different species, how can you tell when a species is more closely related than others? This is the same question I had you thinking about when you're watching that video. And this would be a time where we would have a little discussion and things, but instead, what you are going to do is you're going to write it out. There's a few options that you can take when you're writing it out, and as we go through this first week, we're going to kind of try a few different things, and then moving forward, we might have a little bit more of a routine, but as we all get accustomed to what we have to do now, we're going to try out a few things. So your options. You still have that interactive notebook in your Google Drive. You can write it in there. You can just write it in a Google Doc and share a Google Doc with your teacher. If you want to handwrite it and then take a picture. However you want to do it, but remember you do have to turn it in somehow. And it has to be online, some way that you turn it in. If you want to take a picture of it and email me the picture of the paper you wrote it on, whatever works. And like I said, as we move forward, we're probably going to have more ideas of how to go about these things. One thing I do want you to notice is a key concept we're running into. So, when two species share a structure that is not shared with a third species, this can be evidence that the first two species are more closely related to each other than the third. Which we kind of noticed because we compare multiple organisms and we find out some are usually a little closer related, especially if they're closer on those evolutionary trees. And then the last thing you're going to do is a homework, and this is on the sim too, but you're going to notice it's mammals mode this time. So you can click on your link. I'm going to close out this other one because I know my internet's running slow. So you're going to mammals mode, and this time we're looking at the dire wolf and the saber-toothed cat and the African lion and the gray wolf. And we're looking at similarities and differences in shared structures to figure out which are more closely related. So I'm going to scroll down and kind of look at my questions to get a better idea of what I'm looking for. So the first thing I'm looking for is some structures that all four species share. So that would mean, and remember, mammals mode. And you're going to pull up the 4, and I'm going to go to the tree, and I'm going to go to mammals. And like I said, remember you can't pull up everything at the same time. So I'm going to scroll down, and I notice that my lion is here and my wolf is here. And I'm also noticing as I go through that these 4 organisms are not in the same family because all these are kind of separated with different characteristics. So I see my lion and my wolf here, and I can compare those two and kind of get some ideas. I notice there's a lot of similarities. Radius, ulna, distal bones look pretty similar. Pelvis looks pretty similar. Things like that. Not going to give it away too much. And then if I keep going down to the next group, I see I don't have my other animal there. I wonder if I go back. Let's see. Oh, never mind. I see it over here. So I have my dire wolf here and my saber-toothed cat, which makes sense because these are both ancient organisms. So that's probably why they are in the fossil collection instead of on the actual tree. So here these are, and if you just want to pull up one at a time and have the dire wolf and then go back up to your wolf and kind of compare, those look very, very similar. Obviously, both wolf families. And you can kind of go through like that. And then you have a second question down here, the diagnostic structures. Remember, that just means kind of related, similar, and those will help you decide where to place. We have our dire wolf and our saber-toothed cat. And so go through that, hand in. Make sure that you've done all 4 tabs, and if you have, then you are done with 3.2, which is your 3 and 4 days for NTI. Remember, as always, if you have questions, reach out to your teachers. We will have certain times where we will be available. We might do some Google Hangouts or something like that. All that information will come to you. Be checking your Google Classroom, be up to date, and you will be good to go. But that is it. Signing off for day 3 and 4.